So tonight we're going to talk about how we take in data and our five senses and how sensory changes sometimes change the game when it comes to dementia. Things that once brought you pleasure visually do not anymore. And the television is one of those things. And I think by default, a lot of times people are like, we'll just default to the TV. People enjoy the TV. Well, part of the TV experience is to take it in visually, to see all of the colors, see the characters, see all of the things like that. And then when the television becomes this skewed box, we don't get as much pleasure out of it. And sometimes people with dementia can't verbalize that, but we've got the TV going at all times, but they may not be able to take in the data visually, and it may not be pleasurable for them. So sometimes it can sort of have a reverse effect. Really carry on a conversation with my mom, Kate. So I just kind of sit there and she just kind of sits there and what do you do at that point? We're kind of just staring at each other. I tell people, go back to the basics. What do we do with kids? They can't always have conversations with us either. Babies can't have conversations with us. We go back to the basics, which is physical touch. When we're communicating with babies and children, we're letting them know we're there, we're soothing them, we're comforting them, we're rubbing their back, touching their legs, holding their hands, kissing on their head, things like that. And you have to do what's appropriate for your loved one or the person you're caring for, but you would be surprised how much communication there is in touch outside of verbalization. To think about, we have smoke detectors in our home, and certainly smelling smoke is one thing, but what goes off before the smoke gets to you is the smoke detector, is that beeping, and that signifies to you, hey, I need to react. If we have hearing loss, that may be something that they can no longer react to. Families will say this to me quite often, Kate, like mom kind of shuts down, and she used to be so social and she used to love to go to the Christmas party, and now we take her and she seems really uncomfortable, and we're not really sure what it is, but she really doesn't talk, and then she's kind of ready to leave early, that kind of thing. A lot of times it could be related to hearing, and what I challenge you to do is maybe remove some of those things that might be causing this deficit. So if we're at a Christmas party and we're all in the kitchen and everybody's sort of talking over top of each other, and mom's becoming a little more silent, or maybe she's communicating, she's saying the wrong things because of the hearing deficit or because the data is coming in a little bit wrong, take her to a porch with maybe one or two people and see if you can't reverse that a little bit. When poor nutrition equals weight loss equals weakness, and weakness equals falls. So their senses are changing, and they don't have the ability to use their senses appropriately to protect them from eating spoiled food. In the very last taste bud, there's been studies done on this, the very last taste buds that you will lose are the ones that recognize sweet. So I don't think another thing that happens with taste in people with dementia is that nutritional value is not understood. And what I mean by that is, we know when we eat, we have to get a fruit, we have to get a vegetable. We know if we've got a piece of chicken in front of us, that's good protein, and the protein is going to give us energy and help us with our muscles, things of that nature. We know what we're going to gain from the nutritional value of the food that is in front of us. We also know that typically in a negative way, a lot of us do it anyway. We indulge in foods that the nutritional value is going to have a negative effect on us, but either way, we're aware of nutritional value. So we act accordingly when we are bringing nutrition to the table for ourselves. People with dementia do not typically understand nutritional value, therefore they do not act accordingly. So that's why a lot of times in the caregiving world, it's really important to put people on routines to make sure that we're queuing up when the nutrition is needed, where we're remembering a breakfast, lunch, dinner routine. A lot of times people, as their taste buds change, as their abilities change with dementia, as their brain is changing, as it's shrinking and dying, they become overwhelmed with nutrition. And what I mean, there's a couple of things you can do. One, we have found that people with dementia do better if they are given small portions, because we take that overwhelmingness off of the plate. We'll say plate. The other thing is, remember those sweet taste buds. That's what they have left. So for me, if you've been on this call before, you've probably heard me talk about cinnamon and sugar. It was our favorite thing in the memory care. We sprinkled cinnamon and sugar on just about anything that people could eat if they were not eating it. Broccoli, potatoes, things of that nature.